Something very important to the Filipino people.
When we first came to Leyte, we don't know, we're not related to Leyte. The idea was to go to Leyte and to try to find a sustainable business. So when we went around,
Jojo Silvestre,
And welcome to
Tribune
Now
Now's Spotlight.
Hello,
Dina,
Jojo. Yes.
how are you? Today is the 35th anniversary of the EDSA Revolution.
Yes.
But today we're talking about something I think more important, or without it, there would,
There
life
would be no
not,
any kind of revolution.
or there would be revolution if there was
yeah,
none
for
of
sure.
it. Okay. We're talking about food revolution.
Yes.
So this is about a couple. This is a success story of a private enterprise, a story of love between two people coming from different cultural backgrounds. It's a story of sharing of a couple who could just enjoy life in the first world country. They're very successful in France, but instead chose to come home to the Philippines and share their blessings.
Wow.
On top of it, this is not about charity, but empowering the Filipino people, especially our rice farmers and everyone involved in the production of rice, from planting all the way to processing and even beyond it. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the owners of the Shenhe Adventures, the producer of the best rice in the Philippines. The gentleman is French, and the lady is a Filipino pure Chinese stock. May I present to you Mr. Patrick Renucci and his spouse, Mrs. Rachel Renucci. Hi there, Patrick and Rachel.
Welcome to Spotlight.
Hello. Hello, Jojo. And hello, Katrina, is it?
Dina.
Dina.
Dina, I'm sorry. Yes, hello,
Yeah.
Dina.
So how are you today? You both seem to be in different places right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Patrick is in Leyte and I'm in
Oh.
Makati.
I see.
Is that the real view at the back of Patrick?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, how beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But your background is beautiful also, Rachel.
Yes.
Thank
That's in
you.
your house?
Yes.
Are you in
I'm-
Makati now?
Yes, I'm in Makati now.
Okay. Okay. We're talking about a successful couple. And even before they met, they were both successful already.
Yes, in what they were doing.
Yeah, but
as individuals, yes.
our audience, the Filipino people, would like to know more about both of them, where they came from, their roots and all that, and what were they doing before they met each other. Who would like to start? The lady first? What were you
Yes.
doing, Rachel, before
Okay.
you met Patrick?
Always the ladies first.
So what's your
All right.
version of the story?
Yeah.
All right. So before I met Patrick, I was actually working in London as a real estate investment banker. So I was basically raising funds from the Middle East and Europe to fund real estate transactions in the UK and in Paris. Yes. So I was based in London and I used to live in Paris, where I used to work also in corporate finance. So I would go to Paris regularly to visit friends. I also kept an apartment there. Yes, so that was my life before I met Patrick.
Okay.
Where were you educated? Tell us about your education, your schooling.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Makati City, Philippines,
taga-
and I studied at ICA, Immaculate Conception
yes.
Academy,
Yeah.
for elementary school and the International School for high school. And then I left for the United States to do my undergraduate degree in Mount Holyoke and Hampshire colleges.
Wow.
And then I studied my MBA in France at the INSEAD. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's my educational background.
Rachel, di ba Gaita went there also, Mount Holyoke? Gaita Forest?
I'm not sure, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those nice schools. Yeah, sister schools, no?
Yes.
Okay, so how about
What,
Patrick?
Okay, so I was born in the French Riviera in
wow.
Nice. I don't know if you know. Then high school, of course, in the French Riviera. Then I went to college in Paris, where I graduated in marketing. And then I start working for the family company. As my dad used to run one of the major printing company in the south of France. Then, when I was in Paris, I started my own company as a printer, and we became one of the major printing company in France.
Okay.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you met.
Yeah.
How did you two meet, and what did you like about each other initially? We're very Filipino.
What
We want
brought
to know
you
everything.
Yeah.
All right. So we met because it was set up as a blind date. So we both just came out of relationships. I think Patrick just separated from his former wife, and I had just lost a fiance. He had passed away. So a common friend arranged a blind date. And at the time I was living in London and Patrick was in Paris. And so my friend phoned each one of us up and basically told us to get our asses to the date.
Okay.
So I had to take the train from London to Paris to meet him. And Patrick was forced to cancel all his plans to go on this date. Yes. So that's how we first met. And then we had dinner at a Thai restaurant near where I was living. And we had a very charmed conversation, and there was a blackout, power loss.
Ooh.
And so Patrick took the opportunity to take my hand and say, "Can I kiss you?" And I said, "Oh, but the power's going to come back on," and it did. And he says, "Well, it doesn't matter. I'll kiss you anyway, if it's okay." Yeah, so that's how we met.
That's so romantic, Jojo.
Yeah. Would that be the same version?
Oh. What is Patrick's story? What is Patrick's side to the
It's
story?
the same. So for us French people, and we're different from Filipino, we are very shy of telling our story. But yes, this is how it happened. When I met Rachel, and she was different. She was a smart woman working in London, and when we discussed it, wow, this girl is incredible. So I knew she was not really living in Paris. So I just said in my mind, in my head, say, Patrick, this is an opportunity. And at that time, I didn't want to go into a relation. I really didn't want to. But when I met Rachel, I say, okay, this one, you have to take the opportunity now, because maybe you will regret all your life. And that's what I did that day. But usually I will never do that. I will never kiss someone on the first date. This was the first time of my life. But of course, I don't regret it now.
Yes, everything turned out perfectly.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's a very nice story, huh?
They both had their respective concerns, no? Rachel was a banker, and Patrick was in the printing.
Printer.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was in the printing company, in the printing business. I wonder if they had concerns together. Like, did you both assist each other, or you had two separate
Hello?
worlds that just
Oui, ma chérie.
got together?
Sont disparus?
Oui, moi, j'ai de l'Internet, je viens de vérifier.
Moi aussi.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. So you had two separate worlds, no? But did you also advise each other? Did you also consult with each other? Did you have concerns that you both were involved in?
What do you mean, sir?
I
Well,
mean,
you were in different worlds.
yes.
Like one is in banking and the other one is in printing. But yeah, in business of his
Yeah,
own, right?
yeah.
And I think Jojo wants to know.
If you were consulting with each
Yes,
other,
like-
what do you think about this investment?
Yeah.
Did you ask him about these things also, or
Yes. Obviously, sorry. After we got together and we started living together,
Yeah.
we discussed everything,
Oh.
in not just personal but also about our work. We definitely have a very good communication line, and we seek advice constantly from each other about everything: business, life,
Yeah.
children.
Yes. But you were not engaged in any enterprise before you came home to the Philippines together. I mean,
Together, no.
Wow. Okay.
We had our own. We had our own companies. We were running our own respective companies.
Yeah, so that's I want to know more about that because
Yeah.
that was a big jump that they made, diba? After a certain point in their relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, at this point we'll just pause for a short break
Yeah.
and we'll be right back.
There's some net problem right now.
Iba ng panahon, ang dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nabago na rin. Buti ang bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it sa centers, pati sa mga partners may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still phone remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all. Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayan. Click, that's it. Never thought self-service can be this slick. Modify plans in a snap, walang hirap, it's a wrap. Just tap the app. Now you can check, view, subscribe, renew. Help and support for you. Out with the Ring apps are the in thing, you know what to do. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Self-service and easy to use, mas okay tayo dyan. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Instant response, no hold time pa, wala nang hintayan. Download Globe at Home and Globe One app, all in the Globe app na yan. Download the Globe One and Globe at Home apps from Google Play Store and Apple App Store now. Download Globe at Home and Globe One app, all in the Globe app na yan.
Hello.
When we first came to Leyte, we don't know, we're not related to Leyte. The idea was to go to Leyte and to try to find a sustainable business. So when we went around Leyte, we saw so many rice fields and no facilities. So obviously we said, okay, let's do.
Now I'm curious because Rachel is a Filipina with pure Chinese blood.
Yes.
And Patrick is French. So what
He's French. Actually, he's French-Italian.
French
Half
Italian, right?
Wow.
So what kind of magic is created by this mix?
Patrick, why don't you answer that?
Yes.
Okay. But yes, of course, we are different. We have different background, but we have also a lot of common things. You know, Chinese people, for example, and what we discover, family is very important. And for me, as Italian, French, or French Italian, I grew up with family, and our family is very important. So that's one of the link, very strong that we have together. That we know that family it's very important.
Okay.
And that's
That's a
one
very
of the
strong
base
link.
of our relation. It's when you get married to someone, you don't only marry one person, but you marry the whole family. And we know, particularly in the Philippines, when you marry someone, you have to marry the whole family. Fortunately for me, they are Chinese, so there is a strong link, but maybe not as much as the Filipino. But for us, it was the common part that really make us. Our life was easy to understand each other, the family background, because as a French Italian, family for me is very important. And my sisters and brother, when they come home often like they do in the Philippines, Filipino people. I mean, we have dinner, lunch many times a week, and on the weekends also.
Okay.
So
So that's a good thing.
the base was there already.
Okay.
Okay, so does
Did that
Rachel-
answer your question, or were you looking for more of what the synergies are between the
Yes.
cultural differences?
from your point of view?
From your point of view.
Okay. Yeah, so actually we're very different in the way we think about the world and think about our interactions with other people, mainly because of our gender and cultural differences. So this is quite enriching because it provides us with a very complex and abundant world, actually. For example, I'm very Filipina, so thinking about other people's feelings and of course, then I'm also thinking about other people's feelings and always thinking through the lenses of others is quite important. So I'm non-confrontational. Being Filipina, I'm non-confrontational. And because I'm Chinese also, I'm barat, meaning I don't like to spend. Where my husband is the opposite. So he's, when there's a problem, he faces it head on. He's very direct and he will be confrontational. And he's also not barat at all. So
You're lucky.
yeah. So he's just more generous in the way that in his relationship with money and spending. Of course, he spends wisely,
Of
but
course.
he's not a penny pincher. Definitely not.
Oh, okay.
He's also the one who's a very good chef. So he's the king in the kitchen. He makes
Wow.
very good meals. He's the one preparing the best restaurant quality meals for the two of us. And when our daughter was growing up, and I have no clue about
Cooking.
I have, but they are inadequate skills. So I think it's being French Italian makes him very sensitive to cuisines, to
Yes.
the taste of different gastronomies, whereas I'm more indifferent. I just like to eat without really being discerning, which I think is very Filipina. It's more than
Oh, yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
These kinds of differences, whilst we're very different in that way in our approach to life, to business, to friends. I think even though, of course, at times we fight, overall it's quite enriching because we bring 4 different cultures and more to the table. So it's very multifaceted, very complex, and rich in our approach to life, to business, and to love.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's never boring,
That's
for sure.
probably,
Never a dull moment, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's probably why they're successful. But I was thinking of a scene where Rachel goes, "I want Italian today, I want French tomorrow," but it looks like that never happened.
Yes.
yeah, like okay, anything that's there, I'll eat it. Anyway, we're in that part that's very interesting. Why did they go to Leyte, and how come it's such a successful enterprise? how did you deal with the people? I have so many questions.
Yeah.
But to start
Okay.
with, why are you in Leyte today?
Yeah. So how did you
Okay,
end up in the
Patrick.
Philippines in the first place?
Yes.
Okay, Patrick will handle that.
Well, of course, the key point was the Yolanda. But before Yolanda, I already visited a few times the Philippines, but only on vacation, going to El Nido in Palawan,
Yes.
going to Boracay,
Yes.
visiting the Philippines because it's a beautiful country, but just on vacation.
Okay. Yeah.
Then, when Typhoon Yolanda happened or landed in Leyte, we were in Paris, and the images went all around the world, and we were so shocked by the calamity that was touching this province of the Philippines. And then when we saw that all the people were suffering, there was no help, people were putting a message on TV saying, help us. So we were so shocked because nobody was able to go there and to help. So we decided, me and my wife at the time, in Paris, of course, we said, maybe it's time for us to change the way we are living and to change the way we are earning money. So maybe we should go there in Leyte and to see what kind of sustainable business we can set up so we will help the people to recover after this calamity.
Wow.
So that's how we decide to move to Leyte and to build this rice processing complex.
But you
But
didn't.
of course, it took some time
Yeah.
because my wife used to be a banker. She was running her own company. I was running my own company. But you need time to manage all your businesses, to sell your business, to settle all in France. So we moved here definitely in 2015.
Oh.
That's so, I think that's such a heroic thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
you saw something that really moved you, that made you want to transplant your life.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
It's not. Considering that they're not from Leyte. I mean,
Sorry, Jojo, I think we cannot hear you anymore.
Araneta City, home to the country's first indoor shopping mall, the world's original Thrilla, and the first ever Beanie Beanie pageant. Now a place for your first win, your first catch, your first home, your first big break, your first date, and even your first love. Araneta City, the city of firsts.
Magsha-shopping na lang ako!
Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver.
Hello, can I get the following? One pink chair, bed sheets, na pink yung sofa, tapos slides, size 8, pajamas na blue. Oh, don't forget my...
Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver.
Wait lang. Okay ba yan?
Anything at the SM store, ma'am.
Call to deliver. Call.
Kuya, pwede rin ba ako magpa-deliver sa ate ko sa Taguig, tapos sa friend ko sa Davao, tsaka sa... cancel ko sa Lipa? Okay ba yan?
Kahit saan po, pwede kami mag-deliver.
Call to deliver. Call. Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver. Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver. Call. Hashtag 143SM. Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver.
Call na rin kayo.
Call to deliver.
so we're back. We were asking Rachel how she and Patrick integrated into, or the first thing was, how did you start the business there? I suppose you got to you had to talk to people first. Who did that?
Yeah, I started. Yeah.
Sorry.
And how was it like?
Just getting the well, first we did a feasibility study on whether Leyte was the right place, and at the time it seemed like the right place because there's so much palay in Leyte, like 500,000. The province produces around 500,000 metric tons of palay per year, but there were no post-harvest facilities. So we said there's a great opportunity because we would be the first to mechanize the province, to build a complete rice processing complex that's very technologically advanced. We would be the first, and we would have access to this volume of palay, which we can then process into world-class rice. But Patrick will tell you how we actually really started on the ground.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So first is Rachel who went to Leyte, because when we decide to move to Leyte and to do sustainable business, we don't know what kind of business we are going to do. So when Rachel went around, she saw so many rice fields and no facilities. So that's how we decided to build the rice processing complex. Then we understood, because we are foreigners and we are foreigner minded, we understood that if we build only the rice processing complex, this will be not enough. Because in the Philippines and in Leyte, when you buy palay, in fact, you only buy palay from the middlemen. And then the benefit will not go really to the farmers. So we decided to, while we were building this rice processing complex, to set up also a program where we can help the farmer to improve the way they are farming and to increase their income. So now there is the RCEF program in the Philippines, but before RCEF, we were providing certified seeds to the farmer at zero interest loan. We were introducing massively mechanization for land preparation with tractors. We were the first combine harvester introduced in Leyte to really help the farmer to mechanize their farm and to change the way they are farming. All of this for them to increase the yield of the palay and increase their income. So that's what we did, and we've been here now for 5 years, and we have this program helping the farmer really to increase and to improve the way they are farming. Because the big problem here in the Philippines, it's the farmers that don't really do proper farming. So that's what we are trying to do and to change.
okay. So 5 years. So you set up Chen Yi Adventures, right?
5 years ago.
Yes,
Yes,
5
but
years
we
ago.
only started producing, selling rice in 2019, just before the pandemic, a few months before, in September of 2019.
Wow, and then the
August,
pandemic
end
happened.
of August.
Okay.
But what does Chen Yi mean?
Chen is my name, Tan. Yi is 100 million, and
wow.
Mandarin. So it's a Mandarin name. It's Mandarin Chinese.
Okay.
So it means Tan is rich.
Oh wow. Okay.
And adventures is it's an adventure, right? But
Yes.
it's an agri-venture, so we shortened it.
Adventure.
Adventures.
Okay. But you didn't know anything about rice when you started the business, so you had to study everything from scratch.
Yes.
Oh.
Rice. Patrick has become, I think, a national expert on rice production, and he taught himself,
Yeah.
not by reading books, but by going out into the fields and planting with the farmers, preparing the land for farmers, planting with them and harvesting with them. In fact, he contracted schistosomiasis, which is a disease endemic to Leyte, where basically the larvae penetrate your skin and spawns about thousands of eggs a day, and you could actually die from it. So he contracted this about 3 times just from working on the fields.
Getting his hands dirty.
Yeah.
No, it's not from dirt. It's from larvae
Yeah.
that the eggs and the larvae that are present in water, because rice fields, they're filled with water.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it penetrates the skin through the feet. And then he started, of course, to wear boots to protect himself. But then he fell. He would fall in the field, and then you're exposed again.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
yes, but that's how he became a national rice expert. Uh,
I
Yes.
guess you would have to be an expert if you put up a business like that, no?
You fall and then you rise again.
Yes, yes, because it's very challenging to walk in the rice field. I know
Yeah.
nobody. If you never tried to walk in the rice field, you will never know. But
Yes.
walking in the rice field, it's very difficult.
Yes, yes.
Yes. But going back to how we learned, it's we know agree. All around the world, people are doing agree. Even the
Yes.
poorest country are doing agree. So we
Yes.
were not afraid to go into something that we don't know. We believed that it was going to be easy to learn, and that's what we did. And going into the farms and being exposed also to the schistosomiasis, but no choice, because if you want to introduce mechanization like tractors, combine harvesters, automatic transplanter, and don't forget we are talking about 4 to 5 years ago, where the mechanization in the Philippines was very low. So when we introduce mechanization, nobody knows how to operate a tractor.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to operate a combine harvester. So of course I have to go into the field, teach the
Yes.
people, explain how to operate, and that's how
Wow.
we become experts.
That's amazing.
Yeah. How was it like dealing with the people? You were two strangers, so to speak, going into a community, and then I
Yes.
suppose you had to deal with their cultural, their manners,
Local
everything. Yeah,
culture
local
and-
culture, yes. So that's a big factor. So how did
Yes.
you adapt to the local situation?
Yes, of course it's challenging because we are here in Leyte with Waray people that are very
Yes.
emotional. And when you try to explain something or explain them what to do, how to do, sometimes they don't understand that you are here to help. So it's difficult because they are hard-minded, and it's difficult for them to change the way they are doing things, because what we have to know when we arrive here, the people were doing farming the same way the parents were farming, and the
Yes.
same way the grandparents were farming. So no
Yes.
improvement. For example, when they were planting seeds for rice or for palay, they were planting seeds from whatever they could find seeds. So they were not certified seeds. So we had to teach them why you need to use certified seeds, why you need to go to the farm every day, why do you need to go to do water management. I mean, all of this every day for them to improve. But now, a few years later, we can see a huge improvement here in Leyte. If you go to Leyte now, you will see many combine harvesters, many tractors. Everybody is using certified seeds. We see the farmer already increase the yield all over Leyte. So we know that we were the starting point of this. For example, for you to understand, when we arrived in Alang-Alang, Leyte, the municipality was a third-class municipality. But because we had a positive impact on all the farmers joining our program and they increased their yield, so of course they increased their income, Alang-Alang became a second-class municipality. And we believe this is because of Cheney, because we really helped the farmer to increase their income. So that's the social positive impact on the community. And we know that farmers are very important. Even in the Philippines, if there is only 3 million farmers, we know that for farmers with all the relatives, there is a huge positive impact. Because when you earn 1 peso, for example, in Leyte, there is a multiplicable effect on the spending. So the positive impact on the community is huge.
Yes, I can see that. I'm looking at the videos and it's
Yes,
so impressive.
The processing plant,
processing
that whole thing
plant.
there, yes.
So when you started, how big was the property that you purchased in Alang-Galang?
It was 3 hectares.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And then is that right, Patrick?
Now, yes, yeah. We bought first 5 hectares because we didn't know what will be the capacity. We don't know how big can we go. So we bought 5 hectares to build on the first 2.5 hectares the rice processing complex, and then for extension. And also, we didn't want to have neighbors because we know, and
Oh, yes.
here in the Philippines, we are foreigners, people will complain all the time. So
Yes.
we bought 5 and then we extend to 8 hectares.
Oh, okay, okay.
Now it's 8 hectares.
Yeah.
And that's really
Yes.
wow. Look at the machinery is so
Yeah,
modern.
yeah, yeah. What technology is this? Is this French? Is this Italian or Japanese? Or tell us about the specs of the technology that you're using.
Okay, so because as we mentioned before, we don't know anything about rice. We don't know the machine how to produce rice. So when we decide, we went around China, we went to Taiwan, we went around the Philippines to visit the rice field, to visit the big millers, even in China, and trying to understand what are the machines, how do they operate. And you know, when I first saw the big millers in China, I was very impressed because it's quite complex. You see so many pipes going up and down, you get confused. But what we noticed when we were visiting the most high-tech millers all around China, Taiwan, Japan, we noticed that there was one brand always coming back. It was Satake. Satake is a Japanese brand.
Oh,
Okay.
So we contacted Satake and we explained what we wanted to do, and we asked them, of course, to make plans, and we worked together on the working flow. We did the engineering together to understand what we wanted to do for them, to what we are looking to do, and then we end up building the most advanced rice processing complex in all Southeast Asia. Because for us, as a French guy or Italian guy, I mean, as a foreigner, we cannot operate a factory without collecting data. We cannot operate a factory with only push button. So if you come to visit us, you will see we will operate our facility with computers and only touch screen. So everything is fully automated, and we know exactly what we dry, what we put in, what's coming out. I mean, it's very advanced because we need to control production.
Patrick, can
Yes.
you tell us about the capacity of the mill? How much does it produce each day and the whole month? You know, that thing.
Yes, of course. So the milling capacity is about 10 tons of palay per hour.
Wow.
10 tons of palay per hour. And we can dry up to 600 tons of palay per day, per 24 hour.
Oh, wow.
Why we need to dry much more than milling production? Because when we dry the palay, because when we buy the palay from the farm, we call it wet palay. The moisture content is very high. Then if you want to store palay, you need to remove the moisture content and to reach 14% moisture. So we have the drying of 600 tons per day maximum. And harvesting, it's only seasonal. It's only twice a year. So when it's harvesting time, you need to buy a lot of palay, then you will store it in silos. And same, our silo are a little bit different than the regular silo you can find in the Philippines, because our silo are temperature controlled. So we keep the palay at 21 degrees. And why 21? Because at 21 degrees, the pest will not develop inside the silo, so you keep the palay very fresh. And we control also the moisture content. We keep the moisture content of the palay at 14%. That means, for example, if we harvest now it's harvesting, so February or March, and we want to mill in June, when we will mill in June, when you test the rice we are going to produce, the taste will be just like it's freshly harvested, because we store it in a very good condition. That means we have a big air cons for our silo.
Wow.
So by using technology, we're able to increase production and speed of rice production.
The
Am I
processing.
right? The processing of rice from palay to the finished product. Is that what happened?
Sorry, I didn't understand. So
C'est la vitesse qui monte. C'est la vitesse to increase the speed of production.
okay, it's not only
It's not the speed. It's not the
It's not
speed.
only the speed.
Okay.
because we took the Japanese technology, we control every time there is action on the rice or on the palai. So that means, for example, when we will remove the husk when we are milling, we already weigh the grain, so we know how much husk we are going to remove. Same when we start doing the whitening with the stone, we always control how much bran we are going to remove. So that means we can always adjust according to the data we are collecting. That's the big difference with other millers that will only produce rice, but they don't really know what is the output. They just know they can make money or not make money. That's good for them. That's the way they are doing. Most of the time, the millers in the Philippines, they are millers because the parents were miller and the grandparents were miller. So they just know, and they know where to sell the rice. They know how to produce, but they don't really know how to improve. They just know at the end of the year or at the end of the season, I'm earning money or I'm not earning money.
Okay, so it's just profit or yield, but not quality and taste.
Yes.
Is that the big difference of Shen Yi?
Yes, for us, we really control the quality. We have a lab. Each time we are milling, we take samples, we do analysis in the lab, we control the whiteness, we control the milling degree, we control the nutriments. I mean, we are doing all kinds of checks. And all our rice, if you buy Dalisai rice in the supermarket or online, you will always see the batch number. That means each pack of rice, we know where does it come from. We know the date of milling. We know what happened because we keep the records of our production. So that means if there was a problem that day, we will know because of the batch number, we can do the traceability.
Right.
And not only on the palai and on the rice, we know where the palai is coming from. We know which farm provides us this palai. We know what is the variety of the palai. So that's how deep we are going in the traceability. And that's why when we produce rice, we are sure that our rice is good. Because from the seeds to the palai, to the drying and to the milling, we are the one controlling all the production.
Wow, there goes your line. That's like a quotable quote right there.
Okay, Rachel, does dalisay mean fresh? What is dalisay?
Dalisay means pure.
Pure.
It's a Tagalog word.
Dalisay.
Pure. Yes.
Okay.
And the reason we chose that name is because dalisay is actually pure. It's one of the very few, not the only variety in the Philippines that's not mixed. We only use maximum of 2 seeds. In fact, sometimes 1, depending on availability. And this is very unusual in the Philippine context where other producers, they mix maybe tens of varieties and they mix it with imported rice. They mix new rice with old rice due to the hoarding of rice. Whereas in our case, we just freshly harvest 1 or 2 varieties at most, and even segregate the different varieties in our silos. And when we process the rice, it's just freshly harvested palay. We don't put chemicals, we don't fumigate, and that's why dalisay, the rice that comes out, dalisay rice, is pure. And as you know, it was awarded 3rd best rice in the world in 2019 by the World Rice Conference, where I think over 30 countries participated.
Wow,
and it's the first time the Philippines won an award.
And you were saying just a while ago that 2019 you just really started production, although you set up the business in 2015.
Yes.
Wow.
So a few months after we launched, so we launched end of August. We were awarded 3rd best rice in the world in November. Yes.
That's a great start. Very auspicious.
That's right.
Yes.
But what happened during the pandemic? I mean, how did that affect your business last year when the quarantines were imposed?
So it's been a very challenging year for us because due to the lockdowns, due to job losses, we've experienced the impact of the economic slowdown on the income of our customers. And since we're producing premium rice, with the reduced spending power of the average Filipino people, they will buy the cheapest rice available. And at the time, up until recently, that would have been imported rice, because imported rice is cheaper than local rice.
Yes, because of
in addition, you have the closure of restaurants. Restaurants, we were in about 25, 26 restaurants, so that really put a damp on our business, because not only did the restaurant shut down, when they reopened, they were only ordering at 25 to 30% of capacity, because we're still under the GCQ. And then you have the supermarkets. The supermarkets didn't shut down, but after the panic buying was over, people started to shift their buying habits from supermarkets to online or buying in the palenques. Therefore, the orders of the supermarket also plummeted down to 30% of their original purchases. So the impact on our business was quite pronounced, as it is for most other businesses in the Philippines. Yes, so we've had to pivot to adjust to the new purchasing habits of our customers by, going heavily online. We're also planning to enter the wet markets starting this month as well. And we've had to reduce the price of our rice just to be able to adapt to the new purchasing power of our consumers. Luckily, the price of palay has come down due to the impact of the rice tariffication law. Although our farmers continue to earn well because we've managed to increase their productivity. So it's not the farm gate price that causes their poverty. It's not falling. It's not the low farm gate price that causes their poverty. It's low yield. So if they're only producing 60 cabans, 40 to 60 cabans per hectare, they would earn, and palay were 21 pesos per kilo, they'd still earn less than if they produce 150 cabans per hectare, and palay prices are at, say, 13 or 14 pesos. So
it's volume.
Yes, so that's the context. That's what's been happening since the pandemic started.
Yes.
Rachel, since it's the third best rice in the world, then it must be the best rice in the Philippines.
Well, we'd like to think so, but let's let the consumers be the judge of that. Yes.
How have you been with the other millers? Don't they feel threatened by your presence?
I don't think so, because we're relatively small. The Philippines consumes 14 million metric tons of rice per year.
Okay.
And so there's room for many players bigger than us. So I don't think we've managed to disrupt the market yet.
But are you replicating your technology? Are you expanding or sharing or
Yeah, we're open. We're opening a farmers academy.
Oh wow.
Where we will teach the farmers. We will share our technology with as many people who enroll in the school as possible. I think we're opening, and I think we're in the process of enrolling students. So definitely our technology is no secret. But we'll stick to Leyte for now rather than replicate across the country.
Oh.
And what kind of support are you getting from local government or national government, if any?
Yes, well, the Secretary Dar and the Department of Agriculture has always been very supportive of our business and our program. We're always called in to share our experiences. He's talked about our experiences as well. We're working currently with his office to try and develop some kind of alliance so that we could help them distribute the inputs of RCEF, like the seeds, their equipment, and help them warehouse as well the inputs, so we make sure that they reach the right recipients, meaning the farmers. Yes, and so there's definitely a lot of support from the Department of Agriculture, and we also try and work with local governments. For example, the Governor Dominic Petilla of Leyte has been very supportive of our business from the start. He was there from the start when we were building our facilities, and he continues to extend whatever support he can to our business. And of course, we work with the local mayors in the towns where
Ay, nakwan. Na hold.
Naghang.
Naghang.
Okay, so I suppose this new normal will be very different for Shen Yi.
Yeah, but I've been wondering, like, in so many places, farmers go to millers and borrow money, and then they promise them that once the harvest is done, they
will pay.
Yeah, they'll give the rice, the harvest to. I don't know if that's also done there.
Yes. I don't know if you can hear me, Jojo, but
Yes.
you're absolutely right. That's unfortunately what's happening. And that's why also our farmers are not getting out of poverty. There is many. The more we get into the rice business, the more we go into farming, the more we understand how complex is the farmer problem in the Philippines.
Yeah.
One of the big problems, it's, of course, as you mentioned, the farmers are borrowing money to the middlemen.
Yes.
Yes, to the middleman. And unfortunately, when they borrow 1,000 pesos, most of the time they have to give back 3 cabans of palay.
Yes.
That's a huge amount.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount. And that's, for you to understand, one farmer will borrow around 20,000 to do the planting, to buy fertilizer, to prepare the seed bed, and also to, not all the money will go into the farm, but they will borrow around average 20 to 25,000 per cropping. What you have to understand is when they borrow 20,000, they have to pay back 60 cabans, 3 caban every 1,000.
Wow.
But the average yield of a farmer, it's around 60 to 80 cabans. So that means when it's harvesting time, they have to repay back all with their harvest just to pay the debts. So that means the Filipino farmer, they live into 100% of debt, which it's quite incredible. I couldn't believe it when I first saw it. But unfortunately, it's true because of we call it the shark loan or the Bombay loan. And that's unfortunately the sad reality.
Is that still happening?
This is one point. And another big problem here in the Philippines, unfortunately, is that the farmer, most of the time, is not the landowner.
Right.
And even the farmer is not the tenant. The farmer in the Philippines, most of the time, is a caretaker. And the caretaker can be removed of the farm anytime. And that's one of the big problems. Why? Because the caretaker doesn't want to really improve the farm, trying to do proper water management or following the schedule of application of the fertilizer. That's one of the big problems also. So I encourage also the Filipino government to improve the agrarian reform law and to allow the landowner to be able to lease out their farm to farmers without any penalty. Because unfortunately, because of the agrarian reform, if you owner lease out more than 5 years his farm, at the end of the contract, he has to give a piece of land to the farmer. So because the landowner doesn't want to give any piece of land, they don't have any tenants, they only have caretaker. I believe if we can improve this law and allow the landowner to lease out without penalty, there will be a huge improvement on the rice industry in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's
Patrick?
a very good point.
Yeah. I wonder if someone really has gone to you and borrowed money.
So sorry?
Has anyone really gone to you and borrowed money? Or they're too shy to do it?
Of course, no. A lot of the farmers, you mean?
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. We lend a lot of money to the farmer with our program because, of course, we provide the seeds, we provide the input, but also when they do manual planting, they ask for cash advance. Of course we do. And we do this at a very, very low interest. We still have to put interest because otherwise they believe it's
Charity.
dole out.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? The mindset.
Yes,
After they
yes,
are confused,
yes.
they believe we're NGO. So we have to put a small amount of
Yes,
interest.
yes,
So the benefit of the farming will go to the farmer, not to the interest. For the seeds, for example, before RCEF, now RCEF is providing a lot of seeds to all the most of the farmer in the Philippines. Before RCEF, we were providing the seeds at zero interest loan. So that was already a huge help to the farmer.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I lost my internet. I just came
That's
back.
okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Patrick was explaining the whole how it works and how you deal with farmers and that you have to lend them and all that. Now, Rachel, just before we wind up, I'm just curious, what do you both do for recreation? Yeah.
Is it all work and just
Yeah.
you know
And sleep.
and sleep?
Mainly, yeah. Yeah, we've been working really hard to make this business successful. And it's not been easy. So for recreation, Patrick cooks.
Oh, yes.
We see a few friends
Okay.
to try and to add some balance to our lives. And and we traveled for Christmas
Yeah.
to see other places.
Yes, basically, we are very simple people. What we are happy, it's when we are together because we are in love. So we are happy when we are together.
Okay,
And
of
of course,
course.
food, as you understand, it's a very important place in our lives, and particularly mine. Food, wine, friends, and family.
Yes.
I believe that's what is very, very important for us. And of course, when we work, and because we really like what we're doing, we can see also the positive impact on the farmer, on the community.
Yes.
We are very happy to do what we're doing. And we don't feel it's work. We just feel that it's our daily activities and we are very happy to do it. You understand? It's not like people working for a company, going to the office and they don't like what they are doing. We really like what we're doing. We are very happy, and I am very happy to be in the Philippines. Philippines, it's a beautiful country. The people are very nice. I mean, we are happy to be here, to work here, and to live and to see our friends whenever we can. So life working in the Philippines is not a constraint, we can say.
Yes.
So we don't need to take vacation like all the people. Sometimes you listen to people working in offices say, "Oh, I need to take a break." No, for us, no. If I want to take a break, you can see on the back of my window. I just go around. I go to visit some farmer. I go and talk. And that's already beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yes.
We're very happy to hear you say that. Because it's really
very inspiring.
Passion that drives them to do what they're doing, even though it's not very easy. But it's very rewarding, I suppose.
I'd like to ask him more questions. Them both.
Yeah.
More questions, but it looks like we're short of
We have
time.
ran out of time again, but it was very interesting to listen to your story. We are very inspired by what you've been doing, and we wish you so much luck and success.
Okay, we heard from Patrick. No, we'd like to have some final words from Rachel too. Yes.
What is your message? What would you like to say to our viewers before we end the show?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe it's timely to say this now because I think our country has been through so much given the pandemic. A lot of people have lost their businesses or their jobs or even their loved ones as a result. We've been at this for a year now, and there's really no end in sight. Even with the vaccines arriving, we know that getting back to normal is not on the table for any time soon. And the economic impact of this is going to last for another couple of years. So I'd like to share that with our viewers that the most important thing is to keep in mind what our core values are. Why do we get up every morning? Is it to make a lot of money? Is it to what is the purpose of life under these circumstances? And you realize it's quite simple. It's about being able to love with all your heart, being able to listen to the murmurings of your heart, what your desires are, and to make sure they are fulfilled, and being able to get up every morning and feel the grace of God, and feel this grace imbue your entire being for the rest of the day.
Yes.
And then everything else follows. How to solve the problem at work, how to face the challenges that beset us. All of this will follow if your core values are intact and you know what really matters, which is love, friendship, family, and of course our health at the end of the day.
Thank you so much,
So
Rachel.
beautiful, Jojo. No?
It's all about the core, and it's the heart.
It's
what
the heart.
Yeah, that's right.
Very apt.
Of course, you need to eat good rice.
Of course. Okay.
That's
Freshly harvested, chemical-free rice.
the
Yes.
Risai rice.
Yes, that's right. So it's been a wonderful afternoon
Conversation.
with
Yes. Thank
Patrick
you.
and Rachel.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for joining
Thank
us
you.
this afternoon.
Yeah.
Jojo and I had so much fun, and after this, I think we're gonna eat some
The
rice.
Lisay rice.
Yes.
It has to be pure, huh?
Sure.
If you can wait a couple of weeks for harvest, we will send you. the
Of
Lisay
course, we're looking
Freshly
forward to
harvested.
that.
We
Wow.
can feature it in our cooking show, Kalanpag.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us 2 weeks.
Okay.
So thank you
Alright.
very much once again, and we hope to see all of our viewers again next week. This has been
Yes.
Dina Ventura,
This is Jojo Silvestre.
and this has been Tribune Now Spotlight.
Spotlight. Thank you, SM, for my outfit.